What's going on, guys? So today we're going to be installing a Mustang digital dash on my base model 2019 Mustang GT. Here's the digital dash kit for my 2019 Mustang from Hellhorse Performance. It comes with the bezel, the clock spring, 2 new buttons to replace on the steering wheel, and the cluster. It took about 3 weeks to come in. It was pretty quick, so let's get right into the install. So I know it doesn't look very base model because I did add the leather heated and cooled seats. I did make a video on that if you guys want to check that out, but we're going to be installing this digital dash. So first we're going to disconnect the battery. Next we're going to remove the airbag. So there's 2 holes, one right there and then one on the other side. So get a flathead, put it in the hole, and there is a metal prong you push in, and then it will pop one side of the airbag out, and then do the same to the other side. Alrighty, so now that we got this off, we got to unplug the airbag. So these were the prongs I was telling you about for the airbag. So here comes the screwdriver through the hole right here. There it is, and you gotta push this in, and then the airbag should pop right out. To undo the airbag, take your flathead, push these orange clips up, and then it should just come right out. Just like that, the airbag is out. 3 simple clips, 1, 2, 3. Next, I think this is a 24mm bolt. We're gonna get that on the impact and take that off. I lied, you don't need an impact. Got it off with this. After that, the steering wheel should just come right off, and make sure you undo that clip right there, and the steering wheel will just slide off. So then once you get the wheel off, pull up on this. It's just a few clips. I think there's a T20 Torx down here and a 7mm. So I got these 2 T20s out at the bottom, the 1 T20 and then the 1 7mm. There are 2 more T20s up back here. It's hard to see, but I will get those 2 out as well. But once you get those 2 T20s at the top, you can pry this off and unplug this right here, and this should be good just to slide out. Oh, there's some wires in the back, just unplug them. So now we're gonna remove this, and this. So once you get this piece off, remove this 7mm, that 7mm, and that 7mm. So when you get those 7mm out, pry this off, unplug this, and then do the same with this. And then just unplug the trunk button. So next, we're gonna have to remove this big piece right here. But first, let's remove this. It's just 2 clips. So you can let this piece just dangle. I just unplugged it so it dangles down a little more because there is that, and I don't really feel like removing that. So now let's remove this big piece right here because there are some 7mm that we need to take out, and they're behind this. Okay, so now that you got this big piece removed, we're gonna remove this 7mm, this 7mm, and these 2 right here. We're gonna be removing the whole bezel and this thing, and the bezel includes this air vent too. Now once you remove all the 7mm bolts, this should just pop right out. Oh, I always hate those clip sounds, but it just pops right out. So once you remove that, the gauge cluster should just pop right out. I want to be careful with this. I don't want to break it. I'm probably going to do it with 2 hands. So it does just pop right out, and then there is a wire on the back right there that you'll have to unplug. So now for the confusing part, I know if you have a 2015 through 17 year, you're supposed to unscrew these 2 bolts and cut this out with a Dremel. Now I have a 2019. They started the digital dash in 2018 to the current 2023s. I don't think Ford would make a difference between just a digital dash model and a regular model with this plastic piece, because look, the plastic piece is right up against this metal bar and you're not cutting that metal bar off. So I'm gonna see if the cluster will just pop right in there and fit flush. I honestly have no clue, but I haven't seen any other YouTubers upload a video about installing a digital dash in a 2018 plus. I might be the first one. I will let you guys know about that if you have to cut this out. Hopefully not, because I don't really want to make a mess. I looked up another YouTube video. He's installing a digital dash on a 2015, and his is different. His looks a little different, so I think we do not have to cut it. So I got it in. What's nice is that these guide pins right here, so you know it's aligned up perfectly. Also, I'm able to put my fingers back here on each side, and there still is some space, and also these are flush against the plastic piece. So I think it fits perfectly and I don't have to cut. It also doesn't make sense for Ford to change that backing between different models. That's just more money and more work for them. Also, don't forget to plug it in. So now that we got the cluster in, let's install the new bezel. So I got the bezel in place. I haven't clicked it in yet. It's worth noting that the bezel has the same guide pins as the cluster on both sides, so that's good, so you can perfectly align it. I just got to snap it in. And I like this piece right here on the new bezel, this little felt strip, because on my old one it used to rattle right there because they didn't add a felt strip, but it's all right. Fords rattle, it's just how it is. So now once you got this all clipped in, pretty much reinstall everything like how you took it out. So we're gonna reinstall this, reclip this in, and re-put all this stuff in. So the car's looking a little bit more put together now. Got all that stuff back on, like I said. Now we're gonna put the new clock spring on. So here's the new clock spring. It should just slide on. We'll put all the plugs back in, and then we're gonna screw in those T20s or whatever I said earlier. So we just got the clock spring back on. When you put it on, you should hear a click, and then the two top T20 bolts should just be lined up perfectly. But once you hear that click, you'll be good. So now we're gonna install this piece, the T20 bit, and then the 7mm, just like how we took it off. Alrighty, so now we're gonna swap these buttons out. This one goes there, this one goes there, and we need to remove these screws. Then on the back of this, there's more screws. Now we're able to put back on the steering wheel. So just plug in that main connector right there, feed these through, and then now tighten this up. First start. So here it is, everything worked. Everything went perfectly fine, actually. In the miles are the exact same as my old gauge cluster, so that is good. You gotta make sure your miles are always exact. Changes all the clusters and stuff with the modes, which I think is sick. My favorite's probably either this one or the sport one. It's sick. I don't have a check engine light. The accessory mode is on. So far, this thing is amazing. So that's it, guys. That's how you install a digital dash in a 2018 Plus Mustang GT. I hope you guys enjoyed.